In this video, I'll be going over my minimum price target for this third quarter of 2025. But before that, we'll go over some of the more short-term price action analysis, carrying on with this thread of analysis that we've been having for the past few weeks here. And we were looking for July to open up, well, with a bit of a pullback. And in this case, we already have seen Bitcoin coming down to about 105 to open up this new month, this new quarter. And the question of the day is that it? Is it over? And should we be expecting, some short-term upside in the interim? And to answer the very, very short term here, I do want to call over one of the MetaSignal setups. This one actually fired off on Twitter. So if you're not following them on Twitter, and you're interested in these things, then maybe you should, consider that. I typically retweet them as well, just for visibility. But this one is a relatively lower term time frame setup. It's an hourly time frame. But I do want to highlight that the strategy number right here, which is a 1.11, these are typically pretty good in my experience. Now, nothing is 100% certainty, of course. So for the lobotomites out the world, just turn off this channel. It's just going to frustrate you because you're not going to understand these things. For the unlobotomized or the non-lobotomized, well, you're more than welcome here. I love you very, very much with all of my heart. And we can see that this one actually fired off. Sorry, just a love letter sending out there. We can see that this one fired off at 106,140. And the targets and their assigned probabilities are as follows. Target number 1 is going to be 107,350. Target number 2 is 108,825. Target number 3 is 110,769. Great number right there as well. And the probabilities assigned to those with target number 1 is going to be just over 70.31%. Target number 2 is going to be 46.88, and target number 3 is 32.5 almost percent. So target number 1 is relatively high probability here. If we were to roll this same dice 10 times, it would be in the money seven out of those 10 times. That's kind of what we'd be expecting, just given those probabilities. And if Bitcoin were to come back above 107,350, does that actually do anything for the chart here? Well, no, unfortunately, it doesn't do anything, to declare a breakout. In fact, in this case, declaring a breakout here for Bitcoin is effectively the same thing as what we've been having now for the past week and a half, which is still needing at least a trade and preferably a closure above last Monday's high. Last Monday's high on CME is 109,565. If you're looking at the index or spot price action, that's going to be about 108,900 or so. If you see Bitcoin pop back above there, especially close it daily above there, yeah, there's your big breakout. But of course, that target number 1, which does have a higher probability, is not necessarily pointed above that region. Target number 2, however, which is almost exactly at that exact number. In fact, I would say that if this one gets hit, you're almost guaranteed that it will fire, it will confirm that breakout as well, is going to be at 108,825. And again, that probability is actually less than 50%. So, if we were to flip this coin 10 times, a little bit less than 5 times, we'd be expecting this one to hit. And target number 3, much lower probability, basically 1 out of 3 times, you kind of expect that one to be hit. And that, to be fair, does have a much higher target here at just under 111, really. So, if Bitcoin were to exceed target number 2, I actually do think that you're I shouldn't say guaranteed, you have a very high probability of hitting target number 3. But of course, one thing before the next, and again, target number 1 naturally being the highest probability, would definitely want to see that one hit first before I even consider that this one could lead onwards and forwards. And yeah, Bitcoin's quite close to that 107,300-ish number right now. If we go over to the index, we can see Bitcoin is just a couple $300 off that target right now. And like I said, I like to tweet these as soon as I see them on Twitter. And you can find that link in the description below for MetaSignal if you do want to be a little bit more up to date with that. They also have their free Discord, and they also have all sorts of crazy goodies going on right now as well. But I won't go through the full show on that because we got more important things to get into. First, I actually do want to bring back an indicator here, or a script that we haven't spoken about in a long time. It's not because I don't think it's not valuable or anything like this. Just I like to keep these analyses a little bit more streamlined. And I want to bring back the historical price action statistic indicator. This one's a part of the Caretaker's Indicator Suite package, which, by the way, pretty much everything we have in terms of indicators you can try out for 7 days free in the link description below for Teachable. But looking at it right here, I do want to acknowledge that Wednesday, since this bull market began in 2023, so I'm taking the measurements from January 2023 to current. Wednesday has been basically literally a coin flip in terms of whether it's likely to close positively or negatively. Compared to any other day, this is the only one that is like that in that time frame, 50-50, literally on both sides. Now, what I'm more interested in here is the delta gain and the delta loss. So you're average gain and your average loss, depending upon whether it was a green or a red day. On the green side, Wednesday actually has the highest positive return for green closing Wednesdays, meaning that if you are bullish, Wednesday's a fucking good day for that. And for the other side, for looking at negative closures at 1.79, it's actually among the lowest of any of the weekdays. Well, actually, I mean, it's kind of right there in the middle, actually, but on the lower end, I would say. Anyways, my point is that if we were to put this into terms of numbers on price to the upside, that top end on average would put Bitcoin where? That would be 108,900. Again, that would resolve getting Bitcoin back above last Monday's high and this Monday's high. Was it this Monday's high? Yeah, it's this Monday's high. Sorry, not last Monday's high, this past Monday's high. And of course would also hit that second target on meta signals as well. So, we do see some things that suggest that if this is going to play out, you're looking earlier rather than later, meaning that if you start to see, if you don't see this move really materialize decently towards 108 today, probably not going to get that one. Oh, and do keep in mind for the meta signal setup right here, a stop loss, they are looking at just below 105. And in fact, that's a perfect level in my opinion, because if Bitcoin does come back down below effectively this morning's low, I think Bitcoin's going decently lower, probably somewhere between somewhere around 103, give or take like $500 from that number. Still Bitcoin, in the $100,000 territory, but it'd be a relatively big move compared to the past 10 days of ranging action we've had here. But yeah, that is your meta signal setup. That is your daily statistics. And then also let's get into one other major thing here that is new. And then we'll get into the, my sort of general price target for Q3 of 2025. And on the 2-day time frame here, we can see now that Bitcoin has formulated what is nearly a perfectly formed regression channel here, with the highs anchoring from the 8th of June and also more recently from this Monday, and then also the lows anchoring from the 4th of June and also the mega low that we saw on the 22nd of June right here. So, this is so far acting, relatively well. And yes, we did still have that, that former, formation, which did have the top end area right here, which by the way, Bitcoin's actually using a base off of right now. So again, that's why I really do say, look, if Bitcoin comes back down below today's low, that meta signal setup is almost guaranteed to fail. And you're probably looking somewhere around 103, give or take a few bucks from that number. But assuming that doesn't happen, this is a falling channel. These do have a higher probability to break out to the upside than the downside. But there's no time component of that. And just a higher probability doesn't mean a certainty. So, if Bitcoin did come back down below today's low and come somewhere down around here, maybe even retest that green 55 EMA and then worked its way back up, that would also be completely fine, from that regard. Either which way that you look at this, the top end way to actually confirm this as a bullish breakout is again above Monday's high, or later on if price reapproaches this declining trend line here from the price action pivots indicator and closes above it. And because this would be a formation, we actually do have an implied move to be made off of this. Again, we'd have to kind of assume when this one actually breaks here, so it might be a little bit more, it might be a little bit less, but the number that it is pointed towards as of right now would be relatively interesting in my opinion. That would be around $119,000, again, give or take a little bit from that number. So we do have a technical formation pointed up around there, but it is not confirmed at all whatsoever at this moment in time. If you do see Bitcoin above that pivot that we just spoke about, then yes, confirmation is had, and the pattern bros rejoice and reunite. I don't fucking know. And yeah. And also, of course, just because it has a higher probability to break out to the upside than the downside doesn't mean it can't break out to the downside. You can apply the exact same implied move to the downside as well if that were to happen. So I'm just going to assume, it happened somewhere over here. That puts you into like the mid to upper 80s. Don't fucking kill me, by the way. Don't kill the messenger. Don't hate the player, hate the messenger. So yeah, anyways, we're getting a little bit deeper into this video now. I do want to go over sort of my minimum area of interest for this third quarter of price action, assuming that, Bitcoin is not done putting in new highs, which I don't think it is just yet. The question is kind of when, in my opinion. And for that, I want to bring you over to this chart here. We're going to go to the 3-month time frame, and I want to bring up the quarterly RSI. So Again, we just saw a new quarter, open for Bitcoin as of yesterday. Today is now the second day of the third quarter of 2025. And I want to show here that all previous bull markets have actually ended on bearish divergence on the quarterly RSI. This was 2017 right here. This was 2021 right here. And the anchor is coming in from the end of 2013, which was the beginning of the 2014 bear market cycle. Anyways, as you can see, I've actually drawn a nice regression from the last couple cycle highs, and we can see that that level would kind of be corresponding to the current RSI of about 75 to 76, assuming that it does touch it on this next, it gets a nice little touch on this next period. So this, again, lasts 3 months, but that would be creating bearish divergence, obviously, and would still be living in alignment with this regression. So I'd say, Bitcoin's very likely to at least test this region. Could it exceed it? Sure. But I really think from there, you're, in terms of timing, like you're less than 3 months away from the all-time high or cycle high in this case. But as of right now, that 75 or 76 number, we can actually backwards engineer through Caretaker's RSI what that exact price number would be for this current period, meaning the third quarter of 2025. And so for that, the exact price would be 882, very important, and 55 cents as well. If and when we do see that price this quarter, you will see this trend line effectively perfectly touched, perfectly tested and caressed. And, I think looking for anything more than that, you start to kind of run into some more issues, or at least, probably are not as nice. I'll put it that way. But yeah, this again gives me added confidence that Bitcoin, unlikely to see the highs just yet, still looking, let's just call it September, give or take a month from that number. So anywhere between like August to October. I'm kind of a little bit more weighted towards the ending portion of that time frame. But again, my opinion on that can change at all times, and I reserve the right to be wrong as fuck. Wrong as fuck. Very, very fun, very, very enjoyable, and also inevitable in these markets. Anyways, so that's that's basically that. Is there anything else that I wanted to get through on the HPDR? I think we briefly spoke about this yesterday, but I do think the new monthly open for the HPDR is pretty interesting here, just because Bitcoin did hold above the 38.2 level to close out June, and the median is actually significantly higher at 146. Now, again, this will adjust as we get new monthly opens. So let's say, Bitcoin trades up a little bit during this month and then, doesn't really do much. And then we get the new the new open for August. Like, this could come down a lot. But I'm going to be very intently watching where that median is, because that's just going to be another major area of interest for any sort of potential continuation move that we might see for Bitcoin. But yeah, I think we hit all of the major things for today. Tomorrow, I am planning Thursday for a nice little live stream. Very, very excited about that. And I might even trial out, by the way, a new way of doing these videos where I can actually put in I can actually put in more graphics and shit. AI has gotten really, really good, by the way. So it's actually giving me significant amounts of options here, and it doesn't really take me that long if you didn't have these options before, by the way. So just to answer a question that I got a lot, because I posted a shorts video yesterday, and I used AI to create it or help to create, the backdrops and everything. No, I'm not hacked or anything like this. I'm just trying out new features, just trying to have a little bit of fun with it, man. I mean, at the end of the day, summer is relatively boring, and we haven't really seen anything new generally happen since, late May. And by the way, regarding yesterday's video, a lot of people are asking, was I hacked or something like that as well? It was regarding the SIM swapping video. It happened with one of my old numbers. I don't want to give too much details here, because I don't know what can actually fuel these things, because apparently, it can be done quite easily. But yeah, I was unaffected financially speaking, but it was a big wake up call, because shit, if they would have gotten, the right phone number, that would have been fucking devastating. I would have been very, very happy about that, or very, very unhappy about that, I should say. Anyways, that code I'll leave in the description below as well for Ifani. They are a cell phone provider that specifically focuses on guarding against SIM swapping attacks. And here's the thing, man, because, I thought that I was being super, super safe with my SIM swapping, because I knew about this issue before. This is not the first time I've ever heard about it. I'm aware about it. And I had all the protections in place that my account would allow me, it can allow you to tether your SIM to your actual phone ID. But the problem is that when like a bad actor really wants to get your shit and sim swap you, like they can honestly do it somewhat easily, because if they can go around to like all of the cell phone providers, physical stores that is associated with your account, and they can just go in there and just try the next representative and try to swindle them over and lie to them basically, and in some cases they just even bribe them. I mean, shit, like these people aren't getting paid a shit ton of money, and so if someone walks in their store and says like, hey, or calls them up and says, hey, look, I know that this person's fucking phone has a lot of money on it, so if you just give me the damn SIM, I'll send you $10,000 or something like this, whatever it is. So yeah, I figured it's a real issue. That's why I wanted to partner with them. Of course, if it's not for you, man, don't fucking go for it. But you can actually try it out for free, pretty simple. And yeah, I think we'll leave it right there. That code is in the link description below, as are all of the shill codes, and we will pick back up on it tomorrow on a nice little live stream. Hopefully, we have something moderately different to be looking at, but you can't hope for too much on the second day of July here. Anyways, with that said, I'd like to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully next time.